been working diligently with us in regards to coming to the park whenever we make a phone call, which is pretty much every other day, just to help us out and make sure that the dogs are on a leash.
And what happens when they come?
The people put dogs on a leash. So as soon as they see the car come in or actually drive down Forest Avenue, the dogs are on the leash. Then when they drive away, the dogs are back off the leash. So it's almost like a game now.
There's never going to be a solution. I mean, I guess maybe I'm being negative about this, but as long as human nature is such that they're going to play the game, whoever they are, those individuals who don't like what the rule is, and that's the long and short of it. And as soon as they see a police officer, the dog goes on leash, and I have no doubts that some of those people the next day will take it off leash again. And when you have 200-300, it's not just one or two
Correct.
people.
And yesterday we had an incident with an individual who actually told me that there is no law in New York State, no agricultural law in New York State, that tells you to keep your dog on a leash. So,
Do you have an incident with that person?
Well, the person left the park, but she left doing so by walking her dog off the leash until she got out of the park, and then she placed the dog on a leash. So obviously she knows that outside of the park there's real enforcement, and you have to keep the dog on a leash.
I think, Joe, both you and Joan are right. I mean, you said that there hasn't been a solution, and I think you're right. And Joan, you said that there may never be a solution. I think you're right, too.
Well, only because you can't expect the Rye City Police. They have
Exactly.
to do this all day long. I mean,
Exactly.
it's, and I've said that before. The Rye City Police have other responsibilities than monitoring, and by the time they come, the offense has been corrected because
correct.
people aren't foolish. It's just
It takes time out of their duties.
Yeah, the only other question would be, I guess we talked about this before and we got nowhere, is there something that we could do to and we talked about deputizing, and there was, some pushback on that, so that at least there would be a consequence for the action, immediate consequence.
Yeah, I just have to say,
It's disappointing.
It is disappointing. I'm sorry. Obviously there's solutions, and if I'm here next year, I'm not going to sit here and have our staff mistreated, and I'm not going to have the law of the park flouted, and I will tell you quite in no uncertain terms that at the end of the day, what if when we did our parking solution, people decided to park wherever the heck they wanted?
We get that.
And they just said, screw you. I'm parking here. Screw you. Screw you. I don't care. I'm parking here. Screw you. I don't care what you tell me. In fact, we had a couple instances.
That happens also, yes.
And so, we're a nation of laws, and the law of the land or the state is very clear, and it's incumbent on us to enforce that law. And ultimately, next year the law will be enforced. I think we've been enormously accommodating by offering to have the people that are most affected to come up with a solution which involves a dog run. If they want to propose that, let them propose it. And if they don't, then they will suffer the consequences. But, they got through this season. But I guarantee you, at least if I'm on this commission next year, and I've heard Mayor Pillis say, no dogs in the park. I'm not going to, again, as I said, I'm not going to, 200, 300 dogs off leash in the park?
This week.
What kind of security risk is that? It's making a mockery. We cut back on the cars. We cut back on the cars because it was supposed to be a safety issue in part. I mean, my goodness, 200, 300 dogs off leash. That is an enormous.
That was this week.
Yeah, I'm saying, but that's a safety risk. I don't have time for games, quite frankly.
When I said that there was no solution,
I
meant there was no solution with, in fact, the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Because there are solutions. So you can have a delineated dog park. That would, but those, once again, as we've discussed before, I don't know if that's really fair to the residents who live adjacent to the park, because then it becomes an attraction out of town, and that's not fair either. Their quality of life. I mean, there are solutions, enforcement, but you can't expect the City of Rye officers all the time.
No,
I mean, they have been great, and I commend them. Terrific, but that's, can't have them stationed there.
I think you're saying that's not a solution.
That's not a solution.
So I don't know if I expected a full dog debate tonight, and
No.
we need.
We were avoiding it. We were avoiding it.
We do need to have it at some point. But I think, to be fair, I think there are differing points of view on what the rules should be, and it may not be subscribed to by a majority of the people up here, but on this dais. But I think we need to let it all hang out and air it out and figure out what to do. We did have a meeting. I can't remember when. At some point within the last few months, with some interested people, and we did try to have an open discussion about the realities of the situation and what could work and what couldn't. And I think we need to continue with that. And well, I'm sorry, I didn't set up the meeting, but I did attend.
Fred, did you?
If there is another one, Joe, we'll certainly invite you.
Just to be fair, I've been dealing with this for 5 years. Our counsel, Paul Nieto, has stated that it's a state law. It's a Rye City law. We've been patient for 5 years with these people. We've asked them a number of times to please adhere to the leash law. We've had 2 instances where people were bitten, including one of our security guys. And the point is that the word gets around that Rye Town Park is a dog park. I get numerous calls. Is this a dog park? Is this a dog park? Well, Portchester doesn't allow dogs off leash in their parks. Rye City doesn't allow.
Portchester doesn't even let dogs in the park.
In the park. Neither does Mamaroneck. I go down to the harbor occasionally. They have signs posted, no dogs in park till after the summer season, because they're trying to avoid a lawsuit. Now, as far as dogs on the beach, and I have no problem with dogs. I've had a dog in my life, and I really love dogs. But dogs on the beach become a health hazard. I mean, Frank took numerous pictures of dogs that defecated on the beach. Our children are playing on the beach. And that stays there through the winter, and it's right below the sand, and we have children running around the beach. Same with the urine. The urine smell remains there for a year. It's not a healthy situation.
Well, let me make a recommendation.
So I just wanted to.
I appreciate your.
I'm trying to be candid here.
Sure, no. Yeah, look, I think that. Well, thanks for your comments. Fred. Look, at the end of the day, I think we need to solve this problem. Look, we're not going to change things between now and November 1st. So it is what it is. I don't want. So just make do as you have this summer, Joe and Fred. But we need to have between now and April 1st to come up with a policy and an enforcement mechanism, and we need to definitely do that. We'll have to. We need to set up a committee to do that. If nobody else, does anybody want to be on that committee from the commission?
I don't know if I want to, but I will.
Okay,
I think it needs to be done.
All right, perfect. So, Joe, if that's wonderful, if you could head up that committee, if you could involve a member of staff and Bishop, if you could work, or Greg or Carol, one of our be involved in that and come up with some solutions. Again, we're trying to. We don't want to have a war. No,
absolutely.
Let's try and come up with solutions.
I agree with that sentiment 100%.
Makes sense. And then we have till next year, and then. Maybe Fred and Joe, you guys just want to maybe just put together a small memo for Rye City, talking about your concerns about, cleanliness and health hazard, opening the beach up in the wintertime and then, just so you guys have that on record as you make your decision. And, and maybe, again, I think at one point we're talking about, when we first did it, there was a donation box you could contribute to. I don't think we ever got a penny when we let dogs on the beach, but maybe maybe you have people pay a small fee, and then they could get cleaned up at least. So anyway, so we'll have a more robust conversation in October and finalize it. Okay, great. Winter access pass, exactly. Maybe do that. So anyway, listen, thanks, staff, for a great summer, great work, and we'll try and beat that $75,000 budget as much as possible.
Our water's tested every week. We've got one of the cleanest beaches on the Sound Shore. Now, I wonder what would happen if our sand was
Okay, well, let's, on that note, let's, great. Hey, do we have any numbers on residents versus non-resident usage this summer?
Yes.
What was the number?
Depends on what category you're looking at, but for
What do you mean?
For example,
Broadly speaking.
I'm looking at the. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. We have year-to-date numbers through August.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, it's in your packet.
It's the units.
Let's go parking first, which is the easiest. Resident and permit parking, roughly about 11,000. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the 18,000 versus non-resident, about 14,000.
You say
So
50%?
we've turned the corner. No. On parking, for example,
50-50.
we've turned the corner. It's almost 50-50.
Permit parking doesn't mean residents.
Oh, mostly.
Well, for the most part, it
For the most
does.
part, it does.
And then when you look at beach access down at the bottom, you'll see
That's
that,
a huge difference. How does that compare with last year?
80-20.
uh,
80-20 last year, wasn't it?
yeah, it was
I think you're.
uh,
All right, anyway, I don't want to take a lot of time now. Would you just, Greg, and can I get some numbers next time, and Bishop and Fred,
mhm.
just have a small chart? Yeah. Well, so where are they?
We have from last year, you had 11,000.
What'd you pay?
Including permit parking and resident parking, it's about 11,000. Non-resident last year was 14,700. This year, resident and permit parking is 18 versus
Right.
14,1 for resident. On your beach, you have about 11 versus 32,000. The other one is 13 versus 29,000.
All right. Great. Could you put that on a piece of paper, one piece of paper that I can see? Okay, thank you. Great. All right. Mayor French, do you want to talk about this? Mayor French has sent an email through basically wanting to discuss the appointment. Basically, he wrote an email quickly. The commission knows my position that due to the appointment in 1982 from Rye Brook that amended New York State law, we increased the size of the commission to 6 members, and that Rye City has not had a representative vote based on the formula presented in the original law, which was 52%, Rye Town 48%. So he's suggesting we do something, either reduce a commission member, or add another commission member for Rye City to go back, and he wanted us to discuss that. I sent him an email earlier today when I saw this and said, I'm perfectly happy to have the conversation and discuss it, but we have a dissolution study of the town of Rye, which will clearly impact that. That study is supposed to come out in mid-November, so I would suggest we hold off on any more serious conversation on this matter till then. But that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, take any stretch of the imagination to realize that Rye City would want more of equitable representation. The trick is getting it done. So, the concept is not earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but accomplishing it is something else, and part of that means getting buy-in from a lot of different parties, including the people up here. And we've gone on for many years with it
30.
this way. So,
Why did they not take this into account at the time?
no, I wasn't around then, but
You weren't.
was I born yet? I don't know.
82.
Well, I certainly was born. But I guess, we've discussed this in passing. First of all, to add another member and have 7 members of a park commission, I personally think that is unruly. You have 5 members for the town of Rye. I have 5 members on the Board of Trustees for the village of Rye Brook, 7 people. I just think it's unruly. I understand, and I applaud you and also the mayor for advocating. I would do the same if I was in your position. I guess my concern is the fact that we don't know what's going to happen with the dissolution. What I'd like to say is just wait a little longer, only because if there are going to be changes, there's going to be legislation, there's going to be home rule requests, it's going to be necessary, whatever changes are made.
No, that sounds reasonable to me.
And I just think that it should be, and if the dissolution doesn't go anywhere, then I think that's when it really should be revisited. I just don't want to say, okay, we'll draft legislation now, do home rule requests, send it up to Albany and have it when there may be something much greater that encompasses more. And it's not, I understand, you want to be able, and basically I asked Doug French the reason why, and he said, we have no problems, but you never know when the composition of this particular board is going to change in the future. I mean, we've worked pretty harmoniously, but you never know when people can become more territorial, so to speak. I respect it. Like dogs. Maybe that's the only area that we've disagreed. Maybe, but I would just say if we could just wait a little longer. So if we make changes, they can be done in a more holistic
I
manner.
agree. Commissioner Nieto? Yep, you agree as well? Okay, great. So Mayor French, we'll take this up again in the November meeting.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay. Is there anything else? Am I missing, Bishop? Let me
No,
see.
did you want to do a brief review of the finances, or no?
What do you mean? I thought we did that.
Okay.
We're going to try our best to beat 75,000.
I do have a question. In the numbers that we talked about, certain, is the Seaside Johnny's money current? Are we still owed money from Seaside Johnny's?
Yes,
Looks like
we
we
are.
are,
How much is that?
17,910.
So that's not reflected.
But we've received it. It's just we received it after the close of August.
Okay, but it's not reflected
That's
in
not
the
reflected.
844 number.
That's correct.
Okay, so
Now, in other income, we just received today our $5,800 that we talked
Right.
about from the volleyball group.
right.
We're awaiting the money from the Jordan Triathlon, which is another $2,500. My feeling here is we're going to come in right around $900,000
We budgeted
when you
7
throw in the September revenue. that
Right,
we-
and everything else.
Right.
My question is, what large expenses, you certainly know about staff, because you've controlled staff very well, but as far as other, even insurance, administrative
Unemployment won't
expenses,
have this year, right?
unemployment,
Well, hang on, that's...
what are the unknowns?
Unemployment.
We can quantify the revenue side, but what, the expense side.
The unknowns in this plan are unemployment at the moment.
Okay.
I thought we changed our way we handle
We
it.
did.
We did.
And I will now, in fact, I've had this dialogue with Paul Noto. We just received, this is, give you an idea how this works. This is dated September 6th. I got 3 notices from unemployment for 3 former employees. Their last date of work was in the middle of 2010.
Can you get him on, can you see him?
Okay.
Can you see him on the TV there? Yep, okay.
Oh, yeah. Do I need to look that way?
I don't know if you had to go up. You
The-
don't have
the
to go
point
up.
is
Bishop,
that-
go up. I
Okay.
can't hear it, so go up
No.
there because I want it.
Kind of just to dial it back, we did fix our unemployment expenses going forward. We have set up Rye Town Park with its own federal ID number, employee identification number, and our our fixed cost for this year is 16.5.
So we know now,
Going forward, 16.5 until we have 2 years until we get experience-based. However, and what I was trying to raise here is we just received notice a couple of weeks ago, 3 employees that have been gone for 2 years now are now qualifying for an additional 20 weeks of unemployment, which we will have to eat because it predates the time that we switched,
well, hold on. Mr. Noto, can you come
when
up
we were
here?
on an experience-based methodology.
I just want to understand, so,
And we're trying to protest this. I mean, that's
I understand, but these employees worked what summer?
2010,
Right, so 2 summers ago.
2 summers ago.
And we're still playing, I'm just trying to understand.
Right, they apply, they're seasonal, and they apply to the state for unemployment. The state qualified them
Now, how does the state qualify them?
based on the number of weeks that they worked, and they qualified. Then the federal government, as you
But
recall,
I'm just helping me understand, just because it.
they worked enough weeks to qualify for unemployment.
How many weeks is that?
It's a combination of revenue, it's a combination of how much they earn and how many hours they
15.
work.
Well, why wouldn't every college summer, every kid that worked as a college kid, why wouldn't they qualify for
Because
unemployment?
if you're a student, you
Right.
don't qualify.
Students don't qualify. There's an irony to this that's even more bizarre. So then, subsequent to that, of course, we all know that the federal government then had repeatedly extended unemployment benefits to over 90 weeks. Part of this, I think, the stimulus package and some other.
Right.
So these individuals made more money on unemployment
Than
than
they
they ever made working. It would be cheaper for us to hire them again, one of whom, by the way, was terminated for cause, than to have them be on unemployment. That's how horrific the system is. Horrific. I'm going to start doing Joe Carvin
Come
and
on, that's
banging the
what
thing
I'm
here.
looking for.
Where's
Get
the
that
outrage? Okay, so the outrage is it's unbelievable, and unfortunately, because this is New York State, our remedy is to appeal it again. And but the remedy's in Albany, and there's nothing we can do locally. We unless we want to rehire them and then pay them. But then when their term is up, they'll do it again. So
Well, going forward, we don't pay for it. The insurance company pays for it, I guess.
well,
Well, going forward, you're right. But the problem here, as they point out, you would be responsible for 100% of the claimant's state extended benefit payments. Therefore, charges to your account are correct. I mean, we've filed our objections to this. We've tried everything we could. We're going to ask for a hearing to see if we can't fight the case further. But the reality, as Paul mentioned, the state has extended these benefits, and because we're in the state program, we have to pay. So that's the open-ended number at this particular point. We're trying to calculate it. Each one of these gentlemen qualifies for 20 additional weeks of unemployment
How many-
at an average price of $199 per week.
That's
Rough
4,000.
numbers.
it's
How many
unbelievable.
employees?
Two. These
Three.
are two.
Three.
Yeah, three.
So they have
So
$12,000.
2020, with that 12,000 fourth three, yeah.
So
And
that's...
then you wonder why we're broke, right? You wonder why New York State is going broke. Does anybody, if anybody has a question as to where does the money go? This system is bizarre. It makes no sense. These are part-time seasonal employees.
Because the system doesn't take that into account, and
That's
that's the
correct.
problem.
The system is broken for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I want to see that passion. There you go.
There you go. Well, no, trust me. I vented with Bishop, but what can I do? It's only Bishop.
So, okay, great. Well, that's why I'm very cautious. I don't want anybody to think that we're going to break even. We're going to try and
I'll reiterate again. I hate the fact that we won't, quote, break even because of this, snafu in the law. But on the other hand, when you operate a municipal park, you don't have to break even per
Sure.
se, because it is a benefit that you provide to your residents. However, when the question is, who are the residents here? And that's the difference.
Yeah.
But when I say it's residents, it's open to everyone. But, and I've said this before, you don't break even, the town of Rye oversees Crawford Park, and I'm not sure that you break even there.
No.
The parks that we in Rybrook, because there's no revenue for the most part.
Right.
Crawford Park, there's revenue. Rye Town Park, there's revenue. The parks that we have in Rybrook that are owned by the Village of Rybrook, there's really no revenue. So it's only the expenses that are incurred. So it is a regular municipal purpose. So if you don't break even, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
I mean, we should take that into account.
Sure.
It's just when the extent of the expenses are disproportionate
Right.
to
Becomes a subsidy.
the
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. So, no, look, I just want everybody at home to be confident that we're good fiduciaries. Is, I think, the message that you're sending, Mayor Feinstein. I couldn't agree with you more.
And we are, and we've tried to be responsible, and think that we've done a good job, and I think the staff has done a great
Terrific job.
understanding.
Terrific. Great. Unless there's anything else, can I get a motion?
Oh, we have a couple of loose ends at
What
the
are
end.
the loose
Well, these are
ends?
the correspondence pieces and everything else.
Yep.
Last meeting,
We got to go back up to the thing.
Okay,
But I know Benny's got to get back to
I know,
saving
and
the
we can do
scars
these
there.
very quickly, very quickly.
Okay. These require a vote?
One of them will,
Okay.
at least.
All right.
All right, you have in your packets R&F painting. There are two estimates there. If you'll remember, last meeting, the board asked us to go out there and see if we can't price the the painting of the towers, the main administration building. We priced it out doing it with our staff. We would have to go out and rent equipment, and we would have to assign 2 men to it, and frankly, our guys are not professional painters. We came up with $4,200 as an estimate. That was the straw man that we were going up against. We went out to a professional painting company just to do the front fascia, if you will, the 2 sides that are
Are we talking about the building?
the building.
Why are we painting it?
Just to paint it, to make it look.
The whole building already, except for, we only could go up so high because we couldn't reach anymore. So the towers from here up,
So we're painting the towers?
yeah.
And why are we
Right.
painting? Oh.
So to do just the front is $1,500 with a professional outfit. To do the 4 sides of the towers, which requires additional equipment, would be $3,400. And we did not want to go ahead with that project without the
Good, I
commission
appreciate
approving.
it. Thank you. What, is there, I don't, okay. Why are we painting the building?
Well, just, first of all, it hadn't been painted for
Where we
a
start
number
on the
of
bottom,
years.
not the top.
We painted the walls, both sides of the walls, the parking lot, the side of the building out there, and then we painted across the front of the administration building. And we repaired.
We did this ourselves.
Yes, and we repaired all the holes in the walls. So we did quite a bit of concrete work. But our employees can only reach up so high. So we have, we've gone up to here, we've got a tower that's this high. So that's the problem we face, and then the building will look just about brand new. If you take a look at it, you'll see. I mean, next time you're down there.
Perfect. Okay. Any thoughts from the commission?
Lisa Easton was pretty particular about some of the old painting that was done, about painting some of the cornices, and
We have the proper
you
paint
gotta make sure
specs.
start and stop, don't paint the wood, because then you gotta scrape it off later, and it peels and all that kind of good stuff. So we did it,
We did all that. We
Okay.
conferred with it.
Did we budget this in our budget?
Not really, no. This was an item that came up at the last meeting, so we went and followed through.
Did we spend our capital expenditure budget?
No, we did not. We are, as of right now, we are under, but we have not done the major project, which is the center ramp,
Do we
redoing
need
the
to
beach
do
ramp.
this tonight? I mean, can this be approved next? There's no.
Well, weather starts to
Lost my
interfere.
question.
The
Do it in
sooner we
spring,
get
so
it
it's
done.
nice and
Huh?
fresh. Do it in the spring, so it's nice and clean by the time the beach opens again.
Yeah, I would rather hold off on this and look
Okay.
at it in the context of CapEx budget. That's okay. Look, I commend you for your. I'm looking at this beautiful building on the outside, and the inside is crumbling. I'm just sort of saying, I'm still worried about the roof to nowhere. And we do have our Rye Town Capital Committee. Hopefully, they come up with some solutions. But
The next item is the Portchester Chamber of Commerce is looking for various things to donate, raffle as fundraiser for their annual dinner dance.
Didn't we do that for the city of Rye last
I
year?
was going to bring that up,
And we
yes.
said at that point in time, we said we have to do the same for the Chamber of Commerce.
Right, so
For the Portchester Rye
with
Bar.
the permission of the commission, we will give them a free family beach permit.
Just like we did for the city
Just
of Rye.
like we did for
Right.
the city of Rye. Okay,
perfect.
terrific. And the last item there is just primarily for your information. The Women's Club of Rye has been doing
We just
a...
tell the people at home because they may want to come.
Okay.
Yep.
What's that? The Women's Club of Rye is doing their fall family portrait fundraiser. It's going to be taking place October 7th, 8th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. They do it in Rye Town Park. It's a beautiful venue, fall, and it is a fundraiser for the Women's Club of Rye. So anybody who'd like to go there, typically they're there most of the day. So they'll show up around 11 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, and they'll take pictures up until 2, 3, 4 o'clock.
Wonderful.
Anyway.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Mr. Nowotny. Anything from my fellow commissioners? Well, listen, thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you in October. Another good season for the staff. Thanks so much, Commissioner Sanitro.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Can I get a
Second.
motion?
Second.
There you go.
All in favor?
Go save Scarsdale, huh?
Now, Mitch is first up tonight.
Oh, we'll get him. Are you sticking around? Yeah, sure. I'll get him.
Yeah,
Put him
but
on.
I'm going to leave right after that.